Hi, this is Kenny and Angie here at Abundant Acres Homestead, and we wanted to share our story with you.
My parents got this place because they bought it off my grandparents in 1973. I think my favorite thing to play as a kid was like with tractors and little implements and stuff like that. I'd pretend like I was farming. I do remember playing in the ditch, in the stream. I do think it's cool though that, the same woods and the same fields and the same streams, everything that I grew up playing in, my son played in, now my granddaughter gets to play in it. My parents grew up in the Great Depression, so anything we had or anything we found, we kept and reused and used over and over. That's just the way they grew up, so that's what we did too. I remember we had to, my grandparents lived next door, and we always had to run back and forth because we'd take care of them, and had to always go over and check on them, make sure they were all right. I remember my grandpa telling me one day that, I'd be all right in this world because I was a hard worker. I didn't hunt as a kid because my uncle died from eating rabbit out of season. So I did not hunt growing up, and we weren't allowed. As a teenager, it was boring out here because, obviously you couldn't wait to get your license and go to town, hang out with your friends, and most of the time that's what I did.
And this is me, Angie, at about 6 years old. Some of my earliest memories was my dad working at a co-op and bringing home baby chickens that we raised for eggs and eventually meat. My dad was a hunter and a hardcore fisherman. And my mom, well, she was a gardener and she canned pretty much everything that she grew. And this is me at age 9, when thanks to some bullying at school, that's when I realized we were poor. And I understood that my mom and dad didn't garden, hunt, and fish for fun, but they did it to put food on the table. Dad lost his job and we had to move from the country to the projects where my dad was the maintenance man to put a roof over our heads. But on the weekends, he'd drag us to a river, a lake, or some kind of body of water to go fishing. And Mom, well, she continued to grow her vegetables and stuff in buckets on our tiny little patio. At 14, I lost my dad, and I got into a lot of trouble. So Mom moved us here to Indiana, where her dad lived. And that's where I met Kenny at 16.
We dated for about 4 years. And then we got married, and we bought the place from my parents in 1993. We were 20 years old. We had love. We had a son. We had land. We had everything but money. And that's where our homestead journey began.
I just went back to what I learned growing up, putting food on the table. It started with gardening, and then we added chickens. And honestly, I was loving it. Before we knew it, we were breeding German shepherds, we had goats, ducks, a few pigs. I even had a couple raccoons.
Life started hitting hard. My dad got Alzheimer's, and then I lost him. Angie's grandpa lived next door. Angie did her best to work, raise a boy, animals, care for grandpa, who eventually lost his battle with cancer.
Then my body started attacking me. There's multiple hospital stays, multiple tests, with diagnoses ranging from anxiety to symptomatic migraines to MS. I don't know, I just knew in my heart none of these were right.
It was black mold exposure. We had just tore out our fireplace. It was leaking inside the walls and filling our attic full of mold.
I had a few seizures of some sorts and headaches and dizziness to the point where I'd stumble just trying to walk.
There was a few times I had to carry her into the hospital because she couldn't walk.
Kenny was working a lot of overtime, trying to pay for the bills that were coming in, and he was taking care of our son, taking care of me, trying to keep the homestead going, but it was just too much, so we had to start selling our animals.
But in time and in prayer, she got better.
I began gardening again, adding chickens back. We even got a few pigs. But then my mom got sick, and again, the homestead had to be put on hold. She lost her battle, and then we lost Kenny's mom. But even in the tough times, there was always a lot of laughter. Laughter is a remarkable thing. It allows you to forget yourself and your troubles, even if it's just for a little while. There's healing in laughter.
If you want a happy life, tie it to a goal. Our goal is to get back to a life we enjoyed.
YouTube gives us a chance to document our progress and meet wonderful people like you. I've heard it said that once you share your story with everyone, it's not just your story anymore, it's theirs too. We're happy you found us, and we hope that you join us on this journey and be part of our wins, our fails, our ups and downs, and feel free to laugh with us or laugh at us along the way. Welcome to Abundant Acres Homestead.